Hello everyone and welcome back to Com 101 Fundamentals of Speech. In today's video lecture, we're going to be talking about introducing and concluding your speech. Introducing and concluding your speech. Some learning objectives that we'll have today. Explain the functions of a speech introduction. List and discuss methods for introducing your speech. Explain the functions of a speech conclusion. List and discuss methods for concluding your speech. So what are some bad practices here? So beginning with filler words, apologizing and making excuses at the beginning of your speech. We see preachers do this a lot. I haven't had a whole lot of time. We've had a lot of trouble going on. Y'all say a prayer for me. That's kind of a bad policy. Saying hello and then going straight into the topic. You don't want to do that. You don't want to just come up and say, hi, my name is Larry Mars. My topic is blah, blah, blah. Here we go. Come up with a catchy introduction. You want to say something that's going to grab people's attention. When I took speech class at Concord, I had a professor named Dr. Berger. He was a tough professor, older man. He fell in a Burger King parking lot and they found out that he had bone cancer and he broke his arm, so he would walk around like this here. First day of speech class, we would have it over in the main auditorium. He would have a stool sitting in the middle of the stage with a drape over it. He'd come up and he'd do one of his famous nonverbal pauses. Do you believe in flying saucers? Of course, we all would look at him like he was crazy. What do you mean UFOs? This old guy, he's senile now. Why he's asking us this? Of course, we all would say, no, we don't believe in UFOs. He would reach down, pull the drape off of the stool, and there would sit a ceramic coffee saucer. He would grab it with his good arm, fling it, smash into 100 pieces. And he'd take one of his famous non-verbal pauses, look up at the sky and go, do you believe in him now? And that's the way he got your attention. And that's the way you should get someone's attention too. Do something off the wall. Tell a story. Tell an interesting story that kind of relates to your topic coming up. If you tell a good story, they'll be more interested. You'll have them pulled in as you begin your speech. Ending with in conclusion. You never want to end in conclusion. You want to find a way to naturally flow into the conclusion of your speech. Ending a speech with thank you. I mean, it's polite, don't get me wrong, but about everybody does it. So you really don't want to look at everybody and say thank you and then walk off. Or end the speech with, are there any questions? Particularly if you're not ready to answer questions. You don't want to do that. Now, there's a question and answer. You conclude the speech and then you let whoever the host of whatever organization that you're speaking for, you let them ask if there's any questions, if there's going to be a question and answer. The purpose of an introduction is to gain the audience's attention. Give the audience a reason to listen to you. It's also to introduce your topic, to tell people what you're going to be talking about. Establish your credibility. That's very important in a speech. You want to be able to tell people how the topic relates to you and how you have experience in the topic. Preview the main ideas within the speech. Remember what I said at the first lecture that I did? Tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them again. Get the audience's attention. Because listeners form their first impression of the speech quickly. The introduction must capture their attention and cast the speech in a favorable light, or the rest of the speech may be wasted on them. Give the audience a reason to listen. Even after you captured the listener's attention, you have to give them some reason to want to listen to the rest of the speech. And a motivated listener quickly tunes out. You can help establish listening motivation by showing the members of your audience how the topic directly affects them. So if you can show how it affects them, it'll greatly increase your chance that the audience will still listen. Introduce the topic. The most obvious purpose of an introduction is to introduce the topic of the speech. Within a few seconds after you begin your speech, the audience should have a pretty good idea of what you're talking about. So kind of be quick with this. Get your introduction out there. Again, you can tell a story, but keep the story brief. The audience should know pretty quickly what the topic is. Establish your credibility. As you begin your speech, you should be mindful of your listeners' attitudes toward you. Ask yourself, why should they listen to me? What is my background with respect to the topic? Am I personally committed to the issues I'm going to speak about? If you can establish your credibility early in the speech, it will help you motivate your audience to listen. Tell your audience how this topic relates to you and why you're an expert in it. Now, if I was doing a video on video production, television, broadcasting, I would tell the audience about my background in news and commercial production. That would help establish my credibility so the audience knows what I'm talking about. Next is preview your main ideas. An initial preview statement usually comes near the end of the introduction, included in or immediately following a statement of the central idea. This preview statement allows your listeners to anticipate the main ideas of your speech, which in turn helps ensure that they will remember those ideas after the speech. So this is telling them what you're going to tell them. Effective introductions. Techniques for an effective introduction. Use illustrations or anecdotes. Now, you can have a PowerPoint, you can bring it up on the screen. In your case, an anecdote, a story, would do a lot better over a Zoom call than probably a PowerPoint, but you can have them. Present startling facts and stats. Have overwhelming evidence for your speech so that people will know you know what you're talking about. Those are effective in introductions so that it'll help them remember. Share a quotation. One of my favorite quotes that I say in the fall and spring class, quote Mark Twain, 75% of the people in the world have a fear of public speaking. The rest are liars.